Welcome, dear listeners, to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the annals of time, unraveling the mysteries of our collective past. Today we find ourselves on the sun-kissed shores of the Mediterranean, where the ancient city of Tyre once stood as a beacon of commerce and culture. Our tale begins with the Siege of Tyre, a pivotal event that shaped the course of history. As we delve into the earliest history of this epic confrontation, let us first set the stage. Imagine the year 332 BCE, with the mighty Persian Empire stretching from the Indus to the Nile, and the ambitious Alexander the Great, king of Macedon, seeking to expand his dominion over the known world. As we transport ourselves to the bustling city of Tyre, situated on a tiny island off the coast of modern-day Lebanon, we find a metropolis renowned for its skillful navigators, master shipbuilders, and cunning merchants. The Tyrians, descendants of the Phoenicians, had long been masters of the sea, establishing a vast network of trade routes that crisscrossed the ancient world. Their city, a marvel of engineering, was protected by imposing walls, with towers and bastions that seemed to defy the fury of the waves. The island itself was connected to the mainland by a narrow causeway, which would later play a crucial role in the siege. The city's strategic location allowed it to control the flow of trade between Greece and the East, making it a vital hub for the exchange of goods such as purple dye, glass, and precious metals. Tyre's merchants were known for their cunning and entrepreneurial spirit, often forming alliances with other city-states to further their economic interests. The city's economy was also bolstered by its extensive agricultural production, with crops such as wheat, barley, and olives being cultivated in the surrounding areas. As we explore the historical context of the Siege of Tyre, we find that the city had long been a thorn in the side of the Persian Empire. In 586 BCE, the Persians had laid siege to Tyre, but the city's defenses had held firm, and it continued to maintain its independence. However, with the rise of Alexander the Great, Tyre's fortunes began to shift. The Macedonian king saw the strategic importance of the city and was determined to bring it under his control. One key figure in the events leading up to the siege was Hamilcar, the king of Tyre, who had maintained a delicate balance of power between the city-state and its neighbors. He had formed alliances with other cities such as Sidon and Herodotus, which would later play a significant role in the events surrounding the siege. However, as Alexander's army approached, Hamilcar began to waver in his allegiance, seeking to forge an alliance with the Macedonian leader. This fateful decision would ultimately seal the fate of Tyre, drawing Alexander's wrath and setting the stage for one of the most legendary sieges in history. As we delve deeper into the events leading up to the siege, we find that the city's inhabitants were well aware of the impending threat. The Tyrians had long been preparing for a potential attack, strengthening their defenses and stockpiling supplies. In the years preceding the siege, Tyre had experienced a period of relative prosperity, with trade flourishing and the city's population growing rapidly. However, this growth had also led to increased tensions with neighboring cities, including Sidon and Herodotus, which would eventually play a significant role in the events leading up to the siege. As we conclude our exploration of the earliest history of the Siege of Tyre, we find ourselves on the cusp of a pivotal moment, with Alexander's army poised to unleash its fury upon the city. The fate of Tyre hangs in the balance, as the great king prepares to unleash his most daring and innovative tactics yet. Join me next, dear listeners, as we enter the midst of this epic confrontation, where the bravery and ingenuity of both the Tyrians and the Macedonians will be put to the ultimate test, and the course of history will be forever altered. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, where we continue our journey through the annals of time, unraveling the mysteries of our collective past. As we delve deeper into the epic confrontation, let us set the stage. Imagine the year 332 BCE, with a mighty Macedonian army, renowned for its discipline and bravery, facing off against the defenders of Tyre, skilled navigators and master shipbuilders. The city's strategic location allowed it to control the flow of trade between Greece and the East, making it a vital hub for the exchange of goods such as purple dye, glass, and precious metals. The siege began with Alexander's army attempting to cross the narrow causeway that connected the island to the mainland. However, the Tyrians had anticipated this move and had built a series of defensive towers along the causeway, which they used to rain down arrows and stones upon the Macedonians. Undeterred, Alexander ordered his men to construct a mole, a raised pathway made of stone and earth that would allow them to cross the water and reach the city walls. As the mole neared completion, the Tyrians launched a series of daring raids against the Macedonian ships, seeking to disrupt their supply lines and gain an advantage. However, Alexander's admiral, Hephaestion, proved more than a match for the Tyrian fleet, and he successfully repelled each attack. The Tyrians, realizing that their naval superiority was being challenged, began to focus on defending their city walls. The Macedonians, meanwhile, brought up their famous siege engines, including catapults and ballistae, which they used to batter the city walls. The Tyrians, however, had built their walls with the finest stone and mortar, and they were able to withstand the initial barrage. Alexander, ever the innovative commander, ordered his men to construct a series of towers, which they used to launch arrows and stones against the defenders. As the siege raged on, both sides suffered heavy casualties. The Tyrians, however, were beginning to tire, their supplies dwindling and their walls breached in several places. Alexander, sensing victory within his grasp, launched a final assault against the city gates. The Tyrians, realizing that their cause was lost, fought valiantly but ultimately surrendered. The fall of Tyre marked a significant turning point in the history of the ancient world. Alexander's conquest of the city gave him control over the strategic trade routes between Greece and the East, allowing him to spread his influence far and wide. The city itself was incorporated into the Macedonian Empire, and its inhabitants were granted a degree of autonomy. As we reflect on the significance of the Siege of Tyre, we find that it marked the beginning of a new era in the ancient world. Alexander's conquests would go on to shape the course of history, spreading Greek culture and language throughout the known world. The city of Tyre, once a mighty and independent metropolis, was now a part of a larger empire, its inhabitants subject to the whims of their Macedonian overlords. Join me next, dear listeners, as we explore the aftermath of the siege and the impact it had on the ancient world. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, where we continue our journey through the annals of time, unraveling the mysteries of our collective past. As we delve into the aftermath of the siege, let us set the stage. Imagine the year 332 BCE, with Alexander's empire expanding rapidly, and the city of Tyre incorporated into the Macedonian Empire. The inhabitants of Tyre were granted a degree of autonomy, but they were also subject to the whims of their Macedonian overlords. The city's strategic location allowed it to continue playing a vital role in the trade routes between Greece and the East, with merchants from all over the ancient world flocking to its bustling ports. However, the fall of Tyre also marked the beginning of a period of significant cultural and economic change for the city. Many of its inhabitants were killed or sold into slavery during the siege, and the city's infrastructure was severely damaged. Alexander, seeking to rebuild and strengthen his newly acquired territory, invested heavily in the reconstruction of Tyre's walls, ports, and public buildings. As the years passed, Tyre became an important center of Greek culture and learning, with many prominent philosophers, poets, and scholars flocking to the city to take advantage of its rich cultural heritage. The city's famous temple of Melkart, dedicated to the Phoenician god of the sea, was rebuilt and expanded, becoming a major pilgrimage site for worshippers from all over the ancient world. Despite its newfound importance within the Macedonian Empire, Tyre's inhabitants never forgot their proud history as an independent metropolis. The city's elite continued to maintain strong ties with their Phoenician heritage, and many of its citizens played important roles in the administration of Alexander's empire. The legacy of the Siege of Tyre can be seen in the many archaeological remains that still dot the city's landscape today. The ruins of the ancient walls, the mole constructed by Alexander's engineers, and the remnants of the Temple of Melkart all serve as testaments to the enduring power and influence of this ancient metropolis. As we reflect on the significance of the Siege of Tyre, we find that it marked not only a turning point in the history of the ancient world, but also a new era of cultural exchange and cooperation. The city's incorporation into the Macedonian Empire facilitated the spread of Greek culture and language throughout the known world, shaping the course of Western civilization for centuries to come. Join me next, dear listeners, as we explore the final years of Alexander's empire and the tumultuous period that followed his death. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.